The cloud benefits companies in many different ways. And as we've seen, there are all kinds of situations involving on prem and hybrid setups. And Vineet Jain is the CEO and co founder of Ignite. And Vineet, your company has been in business now for over a decade, I understand. So, where do you think we stand right now, just kind of in general terms in terms of cloud adoption? And do you think geography plays a role?
In the current climate and looking into the future, we are seeing an acceleration of workloads uh, from on-prem infrastructure, from on-prem applications into the cloud. That trend is clearly established. I don't think that's going to change. It's only accelerating. But one of the things which might appear a little bit counterintuitive is as the adoption curve, the classical bell curve that you see from early adopters to mainstream before it starts flagging down, we're seeing it's gone past the early adopters, it's more mainstream. But one of the interesting trends that I'm seeing is two issues are popping up. One is while there's an inexorable push to move the workloads to the cloud, your data to the cloud, your applications to the cloud, for all the reasons why the cloud is becoming popular, right? Nobody wants to manage hardware, maintenance, capital efficiency, CapEx versus OpEx transformation. But along with that, there's literally, I wouldn't say linear, almost an exponential concern around data security, data privacy, and regulatory compliance. And furthermore, that gets accentuated as you see the adoption being done by not the small, medium businesses, but larger and larger class of companies, where there's more at stake in terms of any compliance violation, whether it's GDPR or CCPA or FINRA, depending on your nature and class of industry. So there's a growing concern that while I want to move to the cloud, I being the CISO, IT CIO, IT director, I'm also overly concerned about losing control of my data because it used to be behind my firewall. I used to control it. Literally, I could touch it. And now it's outside my control. So that palpable sense of losing control, it's not just perception, it's a reality that you have to address. And we're seeing that. And of course, it gets further sort of underlined when you hear about data breaches, more so like, how many millions of credit cards were exposed in the Marriott fiasco or Target or what have you, right? So that's one trend, that they are adopting the cloud, but their concern around data security, data privacy, and compliances is going up through the roof. The second piece, which goes into a little bit of big company consulting speak, like a KPMG, where I used to work in my prior years, is the issue of change management. And what that means is, simply stated, we were used to working a certain way. We being IT being the central control point, but the end users being departments, whether it's finance, whether it's marketing or sales, they were used to doing things a certain way. There was a level of comfort and there's inertia that, hey, I like doing it this way. And now you get this cloud, while you get the ease of use, the unlimited disk in the sky, the elasticity, I don't want to deal with change. I being the average Joe, the average user. So change management is a very critical aspect that is coming up more and more as you're going further upstream in terms of the class of customers that are adopting the cloud.
Okay, so Vineet, your Twitter handle, I understand, is Cloud Not Enough, and you established that name over a decade ago. So, do you still think there's a great deal of adoption ahead of us?
I still maintain, Karen, that it'll be a relevant Twitter handle for the next 10 years, despite my earlier comment that we started this conversation with, that there'll be more and more workloads going to the cloud, more data going to the cloud, simply because I believe that if you remember this term, paperless office, I was looking up Wikipedia. Business Week claimed that they invented this in 1975. Now, does it mean that you don't see paper at all? It's all digitized? The answer is no. I mean, I still have a newspaper lying on my desk. I still have my notepad, but you don't see a lot of paper. You don't see file cabinets or stuff like that. It's all been digitized. So my point is that you see paper, less of it, but more specialized forms. In a similar vein, data is going to be where more and more data, more and more apps will go to the cloud, but the role of on-prem, the role of applications running, a subset of them running on-prem for a variety of reasons, technical reasons, compliance reasons, large files being a problem. I'm in a zone where connectivity is poor. So I believe the world will be hybrid. Now, when I say hybrid, it doesn't mean every company has to be hybrid. It depends on your use cases, your workload. So one of our customers like Red Bull worldwide runs off the cloud. But then one of our customers, Coach, which you would know, right? Kate Spade, Stuart Weitzman, everything they've acquired, they're hybrid. So my point is, you cannot straitjacket people into the cloud. Not today, not tomorrow, not 3 years from now. You have to give them sort of either the training wheels to go to the cloud or let them live in a dual world where it's hybrid, but the end user cares about getting to their job in the fastest possible fashion with the device that they have from whichever location they are.
Okay, and finally, Vineet, in many studies that we've cited here on Tech Republic, we've shown findings that prove that in order to attract top tech talent, you've got to accommodate remote workers. So the cloud will only help further that requirement.
The one big driving factor for the cloud, in my opinion, is the increasingly distributed nature of your workforce. This old days of where I could keep everybody in the same office, um, and obviously that's a very big problem in the cities like where we are, Silicon Valley, or in New York, or in Boston, or in Chicago. That actually is a problem everywhere. Try opening up an office in Portland, which may not be a tier one city, but it's a tier two city in terms of its tech pool. I mean, otherwise it's a first rate city with a ton of microbreweries and coffee. But my point is, it's impossible to find talent in different spheres in requisite numbers in one location anymore. And you have to go where the talent is. And you can call it people allowed to work from home or people working as remote workers. The reality is, and I'm a 100% believer in this, is go where the talent is and then leverage the cloud and all these remote working methods to create one logical office.
All right, Vinny, thank you so much. And for everything you need to know on cloud adoption, we've got you covered on Tech Republic.